Hi, it's Rob from robdonphoto.com, and what I'd like to show you today is the Cokin A camera filter system that you can use to put filters on the front of your camera for all sorts of wonderful effects like polarizing, grads, stars, diffusers, all sorts of different things you can do. And the great thing about the Cokin system is they're pretty cheap second-hand on eBay at the moment. So this is where I got this lot from, and I just want to explain how it works and the different sort of filters and what you can use them for. And I'm going to try and show you the effect they have, but I'm not sure whether that'll work or not, so I'm going to do it live with the video camera. So the normal problem with filters is that when you buy your ordinary, the round filters that you put on the end of the camera, you've got to get them specifically for the size of the camera, or you've got to use step rings to make them fit, and you're pretty much limited to a round sort of size, obviously, because it's going on the end of the lens. And the idea with the Cokin system is that you can use square filters. Okay, so how does it work? Well, the first thing you need if you're thinking about buying a Cokin filter is you need to find out the size of the thread on the end of your camera. So on my Fujifilm S5700, or S700 it's known in the States, it has a 46mm thread on it. So I got a Cokin A 46mm threaded adapter ring, and this is the bit that screws into the end of the camera. There is a bayonet fitting 46mm, so make sure you avoid that. I mean, in theory you could get a step ring as well and it wouldn't really matter. So this bit, if you like, would go on to the end of the camera and screw in like that. Now once you've got that on the end of the camera, what you then put on is the filter holder, and that goes on the end of the camera, and then the filter holder slides into that like that. So you've got it on the end of the camera. Actually, there's something else I want to get as well, back in a sec. Oh, sorry about that. Is that you get a lens cap as well. So once this is on the end of your camera, obviously you've got no thread left, so you can't fix anything else on like a lens cap. But they come with a lens cap which you then pop over. So that's then sitting on the end of your camera. Okay, so then you decide, well, I want to use a filter. So you take your lens cap off, and then you choose which filter you want. So I bought this as a job lot off somebody second hand. So let's have a look at this. What's this one? This is a polarizer. So what you use this for is if you're doing landscape pictures and you're in the situation where you want to increase the saturation of the colours of the sky and the ground to reduce glare, or reduce reflections of the sea, you stick this on the end and you make sure you're standing roughly at right angles to the sun, and you spin it round, and so this is how it works. So as you can see, there's my folder. I just slide that in. That would then be on the end of the camera, and then using these little bits here, I can then turn that round to get the polarizing effect I want. Isn't that cool? Nice and easy. But as you've probably noticed, I've got space for another filter on the end. So it could be that I'm taking a landscape shot and I think, oh yeah, I'm getting a bit of glare off these trees. Let's put the polarizer on to reduce that. Oh, one more thing though. This is a linear polarizer. The sort of agreed sort of dogma, if you like, is that linear polarizers don't work on digital cameras because they ruin the focusing. But I know on my S5700, which focuses by looking at contrast, I don't have any problem with the linear polarizer. It could be that if you've got an SLR that uses a prism focusing method, you have to get a circular polarizer. So watch out for that. But yeah, back to Christian in hand. So I'm doing a landscape shot, and the polarizer looks great, but the sky is too bright, and I want to use a grad to tone it down as well. So all I do is go into my filter boxes and I whip out a grad. So have a look at that. So as you can see, the top's darker, and then you've got like a gradual change into clear. So then what I would do with this on the end of my camera, well, I'm taking this video with my camera, so I can't really show you that. I just slide the grad in. Oops. There we go. And then let's see if we can see the effect. So I can look through the viewfinder to see where I want my horizon. And bingo, there we go. So I can move that up and down. If I go into portrait mode, the whole thing can spin around as well. Maybe I'm using rule of thirds, so I can go up to the top rule of thirds, down to the bottom rule of thirds. So I've got a polarizer and a grad at the same time on my camera. Oop, I didn't put that one in right. Do that again. So there we go. Dead easy, really cheap. I mean, 20 quid for all of these, and simple to use. I mean, the reason why it's cheap is that these, for example, these square filters, they're made of plastic. But as long as you be careful with them and don't scratch them and clean them gently, then you know they're fine. And they come. Make sure you get the ones that come with their little cases to protect them as well. And it's great stuff. Now, they're the two common filters that I use all the time. Not necessarily at the same time, because the problem you have is whenever you're using something like a polarizing filter, it does reduce the amount of light that comes into the camera. So you have to either use a higher ISO, or you've got to open up your shutter, to open up your aperture, sorry, to a smaller number, or you've got to increase your shutter speed. Slow down your shutter speed, but that can lead to blur. But, and I haven't really had a chance to play with them that much yet, you get lots of other things as well, lots of other toys to play with, lots of other filters to play with, if you want to. So let's just have a look at some of the other filters that I've got as well. Okay, so there's the polarizer off. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at the clear filters first. What have we got here? Right, now this is a spot filter. So what this does is, as you can see, it's got a clear bit, and then so you could focus on something in there. Let's get it up to the camera, and then as you can see, the area around it is all diffused and blurred. And you could use this with, selective focusing on the S5700 and give you a nice effect. So that's quite cool. What else have I got here? What's this one? This is a star filter. You probably won't be able to see anything, because what the star filter does is, actually I might be able to do something with this one. Let me get my keys. Right, so let's imagine we've got the star filter on. Maybe if you can see that effect. Then I can turn it around. So without the filter, with the filter. Nice star effects, really good. That would be in sort of if you're taking night photography, that sort of thing, if you wanted some nice artistic effects. Then we've got this little beauty, which is a diffuser. So the idea is this one makes the whole shot softer. So without the filter, with the filter. You would use that on portraits to make people's faces softer. And then we're into the coloured filters. Now, coloured filters normally tend to be used for black and white photography. So something like this orange filter, or the reds, you would put your camera into black and white mode, and then they would help to make the skies a lot. Well, they give you a really dark sky, so you get a lot of difference between the whites in the clouds and the darks. The effect really you can get much better in Photoshop, I've found, because you can then use things like the channel mixer to change which channels you want. And the problem is, with any of these coloured filters, you're also taking away the amount of light that's coming into the camera, so you need to use a higher ISO or a wider aperture or a slower shutter speed to stop the blur. So there we go. So it's dead easy. So the really common ones, the ones that work really well, you'll definitely want to look at a polarizer, and you'll definitely want the grad, because that works really well on landscape photography. The final thing that you can get is if you can get one with this thing. So this is a shade. This is like a lens cover that goes on the top, like so, like that, and you put that in your camera, and it makes you look like a pro. I think so. That's on the top. So, and it also, the good thing about these sort of lens shades, lens covers, is the fact that they protect the front of the camera really well as well. So when it's in your bag, or if you turn around and you knock up anything, your lens is all the way back here, and so this thing takes the brunt. And as I said, you know, you don't have to worry about damaging your original lens, because the lens cover goes on, and then the whole thing goes onto your camera. And the real beauty, of course, is with this system, with the Cokin A system, well, the Cokin system in general, is that when you change your camera and it's got a different thread size, you just change that ring and you can use all your old filters. Now there are a few different Cokin systems. This is the Cokin A. It's designed for smaller cameras like the S5700, and I think the Cokin P is the next one up, where the filters themselves are a lot bigger. The idea is that as the lens gets bigger, these small filters can lead to vignetting effects, so darkening around the corners, so then you'd have to use a whole bigger filter system. But I think if you're getting into your photography but you want to play around with filters and see what different effects you can get, spending 20 quid on eBay and getting a whole bag. I mean, some of the offers I've seen recently, you get loads of them and you can just play around, and they're really good and really cheap. But as I say, the most important ones to get is, if you're thinking about getting the system, make sure you get the right adapter ring for your camera, 46mm for the 5700. You'll need the holder. Make sure it's got a lens cap in it, and if it's got the hood, get that too. But then the ones you want are a polarizer, and then you want the grad, because they're the ones to use. Okay, well that's the Cokin A filter system as used on my S5700. Get them on eBay. And thanks for watching. I'm Rob from RobNunn, www.robnunn.com, robnunnphoto.com, sorry. And yeah, see you on the blog or see you on Flickr. Thank you.